Hi guys, James at RampantLionReviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to have a look at another brewery that I've never tried anything from. So we're going to stick to the northeast of England today. This time we are going to North Shields, which is just kind of out to the east of Newcastle, and we're doing my first visit to Flash House Brewing Company. So this beer is called Tiny Dancer. It's an American style pale ale and it comes in at 5.4%, so it should be a really interesting one. This beer was fairly highly rated on Untappd. I think it was into the 4 stars actually when I had a look at it earlier, so it should be really nice. This of course was another beer that I got from and Glug when I was up in Newcastle last weekend, so it should be a really good one. All the beers that they stock tend to be pretty good anyway, so really looking forward to this. It's always exciting to try new breweries, and as always I hope you guys enjoy my take on this one. So anyway, as is usual with my reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery. If you want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my future reviews that hopefully I can do from Flash House Brewing. Very first time I'm trying one of their beers, like I said. There's all the usual social media. If you want to see more beer reviews, do please consider subscribing to the channel. The whole channel has a geography based tagging system, so you can go into the home page and search for beer based on country, city, state, prefecture, whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlist of beers from different countries. There is one there for all the English beers that I've reviewed. That's constantly being added to, and as always please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review. It's always great to hear from you guys, and the support that you give the channel is hugely appreciated. So anyway, to tell you a little bit about Flash House Brewing then. So Flash House Brewing, as I mentioned to you, are based in North Shields, and they were founded back in April 2016 just near the Fish Quay. So at the moment they're operating a 5 BBL plant, and apparently the brewery is named Flash House as a tribute to the kind of vices like the pub scenes and all of these various other things that were going on during Victorian Britain, and these of course thrived during the days of the Empire. So the brewery itself is owned by Jake O'Keefe and his partner Milda, and Jake apparently first encountered brewing on a trip to Honduras, where there was an American guy staying at one of the hotels that he was at who was brewing his own beer, and after this he decided to go and actually try it for himself, and he read up quite a lot on home brewing. He then volunteered and worked for Three Kings Brewery, gaining quite a lot of experience in the process, and because these guys actually operate a small kit, Jake likes to stick to the idea of brewing lots of experimental brews. So in the early days they actually didn't have a regular range. I think they only have, I think, 2, 3, 4 sort of beers in their regular range now, so they are still kind of keeping this this sort of experimental approach, if you like, which is what craft brewing is all about, of course. So if you do want to kind of have a brewery that's kind of keeping pumping out different things, Flash House I guess are one that you want to have a look at. But every Saturday as well they open up the brewery. They have an on-site tap room that apparently Milda's worked very hard on to make it a nice place to drink, so hopefully I can maybe go and check that out one time and get a few more of their beers to review for you. I need to keep an eye on that, but they sell the bottles and the cans and things like that there as well. It opens up every Saturday, so if you're in the kind of North Shields, South Shields area, make sure you go and have a little look at Flash House Brewing. A really nice brewery apparently, and they did come highly recommended from the guys at and Glug, like I was saying. So like I say, if you want to read a little bit more about these guys, the website is in the description below. Make sure you follow them on Facebook and all of this sort of thing. But that's all you need to know about the brewery just now. Let's actually get on it to the tasting of this beer itself. So this one is a 5.4% American pale ale. According to the website and things, it says it's got barley and oats in the malt base. Of course, barley, you got all these different types of malted barley. That's where carapils and all these sorts of malts come from. And it's got Citra and Mosaic hops in this one too. Really nice American hops. And it's the US 05 yeast, which is actually quite a classic home brewing yeast that's in this one. So this one should be a really nice, almost kind of homebrew feeling sort of APA, this one I should say. It's an American pale ale, not an Indian pale ale, but yeah, as I say, it comes in at 5.4%, and I have to admit I do like the kind of neon light style that's on this one here. I really do like the way that this comes across. There you can see on the back there's the table that has all of the different hops and malts and all of these kind of things in it, but I really do like the artwork they've got in this one. And there you can see around the other side, there is the Flash House Brewing thing. Just looking down at the camera control to make sure that you guys can actually see these things that I'm talking about. But yeah, really nicely presented. I do like this artwork, but without further ado, let's get it out and we'll get on with the tasting then. There we are. A little bit of bubbles kind of wanting to escape there, but we'll get it out and into the glass. I guess with oats being in this one, it might lean towards the kind of New England style pale ale, New England style IPA sort of thing. The oats are, of course, are what give you that lovely kind of hazy and smooth character. So really interested just to see how this one turns out. But yeah, as you can see, it's poured a really nice kind of bright yellow. You can really smell some of those lovely fruits coming out from the Citra and the Mosaic already on this one. So yeah, you can smell the mangoes and the tangerines, but it looks very, very nice. So as you would kind of expect, you always expect these beers to be a nice kind of orangey or sort of yellow colour. As I was mentioning, this one has come out quite hazy. That will be the oats in the malt base, but it's a really quite bright yellow colour, this one. As you can see, there's quite an impressive head on this. That's 3 fingers, and that, as I say, when I opened up the can, it was a little bit excited. 1 or 2 big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass, and quite a few little ones just going up towards the bottom of that head there. But overall, looks really nice. The head on that, though, is really impressive, as you can see. So yeah, let's take a closer look at the aroma then and see how we get on. Yeah, Citra's jumping out at me with this one, but it does have some of the other things that you'd expect as well. So with Citra, you always expect a little bit of mango, and you will get a wee bit more complexity with it. And interestingly, the Mosaic is kind of like that as well. You usually get quite a kind of slightly sharper tangerine note, or kind of, maybe not sharper is not the right word. You do get that slightly juicier tangerine note from that, but you do get the same kind of complexities with that you would associate with the sort of Citra hop as well. So with the Mosaic hop, it's a daughter apparently of Simcoe, and you start to get things like blueberries and papayas and things like that, and it's the papaya for me that's coming out with this. And you can smell a little bit of the sort of lychees and gooseberries, maybe even lemon and limey note, and that's what you usually get from the Citra. But the main things to get from the Citra are the mangoes, and the main thing from the Mosaic is the tangerine, and you can really pick out both of those. I think this one's leaning a little bit more towards the tropical side of things, so I think it's the mangoes and papayas, and there's a wee bit of that sort of tangerine note just coming out of that as well. So it's a big fruit bowl, this beer, actually, to be quite honest. You can smell a little bit of the floral character. There's a wee bit of grassy note in there. The floral isn't too prominent. I'd say it's actually more grassy than anything. And underneath, you can smell a little bit of that bready and slightly biscuity character as well. You really, if you're familiar with homebrew, and I've homebrewed a little bit with that US-05 yeast, the aroma that gives you is very distinctive. It's a kind of, it's like that white bready character, but it just has a wee tiny bit of that kind of Belgian sort of yeasty character to it, which is quite interesting. It's not as prominent as the aromas you get from a Belgian yeast, don't get me wrong on that, but it does have a little bit of that kind of slightly sweet, bready, almost wheaty character, the US-05 yeast. Yeast can kind of give you a lot in a beer. It gives you a lot more than you'd expect, actually. Can really contribute a lot to the flavour of the beer, but the US-05 yeast in this one really jumps out at me. But yeah, as I always say, just take a little bit of time and enjoy the aroma of the beer. For me, this one's really leaning towards these nice kind of tropical fruits, and the US-05 yeast, of course, is really cool as well, because it's a little bit of nostalgia for me. But without further ado then, let's get stuck into this beer then. So this one is the Tiny Dancer from Flash House Brewing Company up in North Shields, just out to the east of Newcastle. Let's get stuck in. Slàinte. Yeah, that's a pretty damn good beer. First thing that comes to mind with this, that's a great summer beer. That is so easy to drink. It's just got this really nice sessionable feel about it. Yeah. So basically, to summarise, thumbs up to Flash House Brewing on this one. But yeah, as I always say, sugar the beer around your palate a little bit and let your whole mouth adjust before you start analysing it too much. This beer, I would say, it's quite straight up in what it does, but what it does really, really well. So with this one, in the middle of your palate, you can feel that nice kind of white bready character that I was talking about. That's the US-05 yeast. In the middle of the palate though, and as you progress further into the aftertaste, you do start to get a little bit of that more oaty smoothness out of this one, which is really, really nice. You can just feel that slightly sweeter oaty character right in the middle of your palate. In the back corners of your tongue, you can pick up just a wee touch of earthiness. That's from the Mosaic hop. As you come further forward along the sides of your palate, you start to get a little bit more of that nice kind of floral character. And as you go round the front curve of the tongue, there's some nice sort of lighter grassy notes in there as well. And just behind the front curve of the palate, that's where you always get that little oily bubble that I talk about, where these juicy fruity esters come out. Yeah, with this one for me, it's really interesting how the fruits mix together on this. It's the mangoes and the tangerines straight up. It does lean a little bit towards that kind of soft, juicy side of tangerine, which is interesting, but you can feel the mangoes coming in a little bit later. I do love it. It's got a really kind of juicy base to it, this one, and as you go further forward into the flavour, as you progress on, you can feel that sitting there, but you do start to get a little bit of the kind of papaya flavours coming out that I was talking about, and there's a little bit of that lychee note. I'm not getting the gooseberries or anything like that, maybe even a little bit of limey character starts to come out of this one. But what's interesting is that those tangerine notes and the mangoes just kind of sit there behind the front curve of the tongue. So the flavours that linger in this one, it's a little bit of that bready character from the US-05, some of the floral character from the hops, and then that juicy fruity note. The aftertaste you get out of this beer really is quite nice. But yeah, I think a good way to kind of summarise this beer is that it's very straight up. It's almost like it doesn't pretend to be something that it's not. It's a very kind of, I don't know how you would say, it is, as I say, it's a paleo, and it gives you everything you want, and it's not too complex, if you like. It's very straight up, but it's very good in that regard. So I think that's a good way to kind of summarise this one. So if you get the chance to try this, I highly recommend that you do. If you like your kind of tropical, juicy, fruity, leaning paleos, you're definitely going to enjoy this one. As I say, I do like the US-05 yeast. It's one of these ones that really is quite nostalgic for me from home brewing and things. In terms of the mouthfeel of this one then, I would say mid-bodied. Carbonation on this one really is quite smooth. It's not really got such an oily character, this one. It's more of a smooth mouthfeel that comes out of this. This one actually, the feel of this beer actually reminds me of some of the kind of mouthfeels you get from the German Brauhaus beers, which is quite interesting, particularly the Helles ones, just because of the more hoppy character that the beer has. There's a good little bit of hoppy bitterness to this one. It's not going to blow your head off in terms of IBUs. The malt base is more smooth. There's not so much sweetness to it. It's more of a nice kind of smooth character. There is a wee bit of a biscuity flavour in there. And like I said, you get a wee bit of character from the oats as well, but there's a lot of nice juicy fruit to this beer as well. But overall, like I say, a good way to summarise this one is that it's not a pompous beer, it's very straight up, but what it does it really, really well. And this one certainly makes me want to try some of the other beers from this brewery. So yeah, basically, if you like the mosaic and the citra hop in this one, I think you really are going to enjoy this. It's very straight up, but very, very good at what it does, and I think that's a good way to kind of sign off with this one. So yeah, this one was the Tiny Dancer from Flash House Brewing Company up in North Shields. A really, really good straight up American paleo with some nice hops in it. Lovely fruity character, and that US-05 yeast, like I say, is a little bit nostalgic for me. So yeah, so once again, thank you for watching my beer reviews. I hope you've enjoyed this one. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Do let me know your own thoughts on this beer in the comment section below. Let me know what your favourite ones are from the brewery, and do let me know some of the other little microbreweries that I should check out in the kind of Newcastle, County Durham area. There's loads of them these days. From what I understand, there's like 60 or so, so there's always new stuff to have a look at. But thank you once again for watching, and I will catch you guys very soon. Please make sure you like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff, and do make sure you check out Flash House Brewing on Facebook and all these kind of things. Until the next time, Slans just now, and I will catch you guys very soon. The Tiny Dancer from Flash House Brewing Company in North Shields, just near Newcastle. Cheers.